Good morning, Bitcoins. Today is Thursday, July 20th, 2017. And you're looking at a mad Bitcoins that is just activated or signaled or something. Something for segregated witness happened today, and BIP91 got enough blocks. And that means that we're getting segregated witness. And that means that the market of Bitcoin has, well, it's gone a little crazy. Let's see what's going on with the market of Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin is $27.75 with a high of $29.38 and a low of, looks about $26.67. As I mentioned earlier, according to XBT, if it's still loading, segregated witness BIP91 has locked in. We have the party parrot. The dancing parrot tells you the truth. We are 8 blocks until technical lock-in, but we are over the threshold. The blocks are signaling for BIP91. We're getting segregated witness. That's our top story today for Bitcoin. But we are joined by the amazing Robek from Robec's World, who's here to tell us about his My Curio cards. Showing in broadcast. Here he is. Does it work? Google. Second time's the charm. Robek, how's it going?
Hi. Hey, everybody. Glad to be on MadBitcoins, and I'm happy to talk about Curio cards. And feels really good to be the best, most amazing person probably on the internet. So good to be here. Obviously next to MadBitcoins.
Well, it's good to have you here. And first, we're going to show some of your work here at Robc.world. People can check out, and they can also follow you on Twitter at Robek_world, and people can check this out. Now, just a couple days ago, on Tuesday, I think it was, we did a little curio card for you, and you made cards that happen to have a little resemblance to some people that I know. This one kind of looks like MadBitcoins. This one kind of looks like my buddy Travis, and this one like my buddy Rhett. He's even winking at me and flexing, as I notice right now. And then something happened the next day with these curio cards. What happened, Robek? Tell us the story.
Well, I went to bed and woke up the next day, and I didn't eat any breakfast because I didn't have any food. I hadn't gone grocery shopping. I got into the car, and I realized I hadn't checked the sales, so I checked them, and they were gone, all of them, but 19. Which I bought because I wanted some of my own cards, and it was pretty incredible. Wasn't expecting it to sell out in 24 hours, or at all, but it means a lot. So, super excited.
It's pretty amazing. We went back and we looked at the Ethereum logs, and it tells us that someone came along and they bought around 336 of card 21 and about the same of the other cards, maybe less of card 23, because that was a very rare card. It was only 250 printing, kind of an animated, like a foil packed card. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so actually these are all really rare cards now, as only about 8 people hold all of them total combined. But I wanted to do something a little bit extra, and I've been talking to you guys and like Travis and everybody over at the Curio team for a while, and had a couple ideas for holographics, like foil cards that you get in your Pokemon packs or something like that. And this one was a test one. We wanted to kind of see how much we could get animated without increasing the file size so much. So this is a simple 2-frame one, but wanted something a little bit special for the rare one. So that's the direction we kind of went. And if future things come from me on Curio, then I'm sure we'll see a little bit more pushing that boundary.
And low file size is definitely important because we're using IPFS to store the images. So it's a distributed network, and you want to have the tightest file you can have. So I think you did the animation with just a couple of frames, kept it really tight, and that worked, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously anybody who's used Photoshop before can tell it's just a couple of minor tweaks in the liquify tool. But yeah, it kept it pretty low. Used a simple, I'm not going to say GIF or GIF or whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't remember what it was, maybe adaptive. It doesn't matter. It ended up being a lower file size than I expected, so cool. and so the IPFS hash is probably not as insane, but Rhett's probably the one who could speak to that.
It's definitely up to Rhett for the technical difficult details on this. And yeah, I think we're definitely going with, I think I'm calling them gifts. Yeah, they're gifts.
Yes, yeah, they're
like,
gifts, right?
Gift like a gift.
Yeah.
I don't care that the guy who invented it was obsessed with JPEGs.
Yeah, he's insane. He's a crazy person.
JPEG starts with J, right? I'm right there.
Yeah.
J. Yeah.
And giraffe starts with a J, and you call them giraffes. So I mean, come on, jeez.
English is a terrible language.
That's a good one. But yeah, I was having fun chatting with you guys. So this is kind of a second version of a set idea I had, and it's fun just kind of loosely basing them off of you guys. In certain regards, because you can do straight up fantasy or whatever, but I'm more of a cartoonist, and so I knew that I'm not going to be able to do something beautiful like Magic the Gathering. So at least try to keep it fun.
So what kind of cartoons do you do on Robc World? Is it mainly like a cartoon strip, or is it different?
So
what's it like?
The publication is basically like an alternate universe kind of look at things, sort of gonzo, but sort of just bullshit. A lot of media stuff too. So we have kind of a different mix of people. I'm not the only one writing on there. We have really, really, really long reads that are super well researched and like take a long time to write, and then interspersed with like 2 or 3 minute reads that are just complete nonsense. But I think it adds a nice dynamic because no one knows what we're talking about unless they've been on and exploring. So one of the things that we like to do is we each have our own character for our writing, like our own persona. So the goal was to try to illustrate each one. And so when we started out, it was very pixel based, and then I was running out of time, and so it became like sketchy. And that's basically just what the art stuff is. I used to do webcomics a long time ago, but I stopped.
Oh, that's too bad. I really like webcomics, although once again, with the death of Google Reader, I stopped reading them as well, even though I have some kind of thing that's a new RSS reader that's just not as good. I'm just not as into it as I was into with Google Reader.
Yeah. So there's a question in the chat that says how the cards serialized and signed, which I think is an interesting one.
Interesting. Are the cards serialized or signed? Kind of. They're all unique, right? What's unique about the cards is they're actually ERC20 tokens on the Ethereum network. So each one is like a token. It's unique. It has its own serial number, I imagine, in Ethereumese, whatever that would be. And then I don't know if they're signed, but they're all linked to the IPFS image that has their card, and then that can be displayed in the Curio card gallery. So,
well, yeah, and also, I mean, basically, because the smart contracts, the way they work, there's the only way to authenticate whatever that's the original print is that it ties to that smart contract that printed it, and there were only so many copies printed, right? So, basically, those are the legit originals made from that smart contract part of the Curio card collection.
They are. And if we did a second printing or whatever, they would have to come from a new contract. That old contract is settled, is done. So that's the idea behind this, is to mimic the rarity of a baseball card where it has a series, it's done by an artist, and has a year and everything. Or in this, you'd have the Robc cards from July, and maybe we do new cards in August or September down the line. Different cards, different numbers. Yeah. And we've got more information on this at mycuriocards.com, and we've got a step-by-step explanation on how to buy Curio cards at buycuriocards.com. So if you just scroll down, what we have is we have this thing called Curio Wallet, which is a clone of My Ether Wallet. So it's a light wallet. It doesn't hold your private keys. You just use it to create an account. So you just create an account, you save your private key file, you save your private key, you unlock your wallet, Then you get your public address, which is where you send your Ethereum from like Bittrex or any other exchange. And then you send Ethereum from your Curio wallet to the vending machine, and the vending machine bounces the card back to your wallet. Then you can use your public address to check in the gallery to see that you have gotten the card. And we're going to have later versions of this. We can also see in the My Curio wallet that you've received the card. And that's it. Then you have the card. You can send it around. You can trade it on Ether Delta. It's kind of like a stock market for these cards. You can say, I want to sell 10 cards at this price, and you could sell them or try to sell them. And you can check at My Curio Cards and Buy Curio Cards for more information on this. And this is the project we've been working on. But thanks for the question, chat. Anything else going on in that chat? Let's see. People are happy that I put the costume on. We're definitely celebrating the segregated witness adoption. And we're also talking about art with Robek. So how did you get into art and drawing? Did you always draw? What's this?
I don't know. I mean, did you always breathe? Did you always wear that hat? Did people know who you were before you put on those glasses?
I used to draw spirals.
Yeah.
You know, I was always into like the depth of things of you tighten the spiral. It's
That's
interesting.
Actually, No, go ahead. You finish your thought.
No. I mean, I did a website a long time ago called Angry Tea Party. And it was like a blog, and it kind of reminds me of yours, where like we called the blogs weblogs back then. But
was that what they were called back then?
It was a weblog, and we used Slashdot and all these things. But yeah, we wrote articles. We had some joke things, and a friend of mine had an angry teacup, and he had like a crazy Mad Hatter figure that he'd made. And in the back of my mind, that must have stuck in there. But then years later, I got all this stuff to do a game show at Burning Man, and then that's how I became what I became. But
you were bitten by a radioactive Bitcoin.
A radioactive Bitcoin when they went to 250, and yeah, I had no choice to make videos. It was like, you have a green screen, you have a camera, you can edit a little bit, and it was like no one else is making any Bitcoin videos that are fun and try to have a good time. So.
Yeah, I hear you. I got you. I'm right there on board with you. It's strange that you drew the spirals because basically it's just that's a modern sort of we're all trapped in a joint consciousness of spirals. So like that's pretty interesting stuff. I mean, that's basically where I started, was in the center of the spiral and then like looped all the way out. And so all these recurring images that just kept coming up, like this. Used to do a comic that had this red-haired character that it stopped doing, but then that kind of just translated. Original Robek was blonde, and it wasn't even going to be Robek, and then it turned into the nightmare that it currently is. And I can't control myself. I don't know where the separation between the center of that spiral and the outside of that spiral is anymore. So it's pretty cool.
See, now I tried to reach that recently. I did in November, I did NaNoWriMo, right? So I wrote 2,000 words a day, and I actually I had some free time this year, so I won. I wrote 50,000 words. I have a shitty novel, and it was fun because at some points what they actually say happening started to happen, where the characters, like, I would write myself into trouble and I would not know how to get out of it, and I would be upset with the characters for messing up my plots. So it was starting to happen that I'd always gold. So
I mean that's a lot about what we write about, is that everything that we write about keeps happening after we write about it, because we're writing about it. So
I find connections too, where you wonder, like, is your life, is it just scripted or is it real? Like, I was on YouTube, and they link videos in for you to watch, and there was one about Billy Crystal, and Billy Crystal is telling a story how after 9/11 he's at a Yankees game. And Billy Crystal's at a Yankees game sitting next to Donald Trump, Kissinger, and Regis Philbin, right? And they're in the audience in this fancy box, and they're waiting for George W. Bush to come back, and he's just thrown out the baseball, wearing the heavy vest, bulletproof vest, kind of like my jacket. You can't move your arms. And of course, W, threw a strike. as much as I don't like him, he threw a great strike. So he comes up to the box, and Billy Crystal's kind of feeling nervous, you know, and he's worried about Bin Laden, and you know, he's just Billy Crystal. He's a nervous guy, and he's getting a drink. W comes in. He's like, "Hey, Billy C, how about my fastball?" Doesn't care. So I see that great story on YouTube, and then I'm at a discount bookstore where I go and I browse cheap books because I keep buying books. And wouldn't you know it, I find Billy Crystal's autobiography for like $6. So pick that up, and now I read it. And then when I was also home, I read Michael Moore's autobiography. So I'm full of autobiographies right now, and they're both of similar age gentlemen. But it's just the way connections happen and things are connected. So let's talk about connections. How did you get into Curio cards? How did you find Curio cards?
Well, I'm actually just a tag along. My good friend Moon, who you guys have been talking to for a while, he came and visited me in Austin. We are actually part of a Twitter for losers, basically. That's like called GNU Social. And it's a big, giant decentralized network. And it's basically everybody can start their own Twitter, but they can talk to each other, blah, blah, blah. Got a couple of videos about it. But
it's like Twitter, but you can only hang out with like 20 other guys. Right?
Well, no. It's decentralized. So if I wanted to start a Robc server, I can still go and talk to the Bitcoin server or the Tom server, or like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's just, there's not a master centralized server that you can get banned from forever. So anyway, that being the case, he got me into this decentralization stuff, and then he came in to visit. We had like a meetup, and he was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, you should check out the Curio card stuff." And so then I figured out that you guys accidentally released a card a little bit earlier, and then I bought them, and then I was like, "I'm gonna sell these on the black market early," and no one in Ether Delta even knew how to look up a card if it was supposed to be leaked early, and then it ended up being card 10, which is your reserve anyway. So it was a big giant. Didn't really pan out.
You're unable to corner the market on that one. That didn't go well.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't, but it's okay because last night I had a dream that I bought 50 Ether for $2,500, and then it became 110,000. No, wait, 100. Whatever the 10000 overnight. Like, and I woke up. But I woke up in the dream. I was like, "Oh, that was a dream." And then I checked my bank account. I'm like, "Oh, it was real," but it wasn't because it won't leave the exchange. So half of it was real, and then I just kept waking up in the same loop over and over and over again. And then I woke up this morning and I had nothing but friends, all the friends I made along the way.
I've heard that. Tone has described that. He was saying recently how some people that were already kind of well off. Well, they came in at about the right time and they got themselves some Ether and some Bitcoin, who knows, maybe some Litecoin. And they just happened to time it perfectly. And now they have millions of dollars in Coinbase. But there's these transaction limits and they can only pull out like 20 grand a day. So they just keep coming back and getting their 20 grand a day. And I don't know, it's one way to live, I guess.
They told me to work on the math in the chat, and I actually woke up this morning. The first thing I did was pull out my calculator to try to figure out what the math was. So if I had to tell this story, I could be able to tell it. And I got it all wrong again. It doesn't matter. I can't do math. That's why I pretend to write and try to draw, because then I can distract with fancy whatevers and hopefully make people think that I know what I'm talking about.
And then a dramatic camera move to show us your keyboard.
Oh yes, yeah. I'm on a train. Sorry, that's the train. Don't worry about the condom wrapper. That's just from the last guy who had the car. So I'm back.
Hi, Mom.
Hey, Mom. Glad to see you.
But yeah, that's interesting stuff, how you found Curio and you found Ethereum. But yeah, these people have all this money and they don't know what to do with it. So maybe they can just use it to buy Curio cards. That sounds like
I think there's a lot of really interesting stuff to expand this space. I mean, obviously, I'm new to like Ethereum and other things, but guys, I had Dogecoin. I've had that for a while, and let me tell you,
hold it, baby, hold it.
Oh man, I've been holding it because I lost a lot. Found it the other day. Whew, man, tell you what, I got a lot from those faucets back in the day. 200. I had 200 Dogecoin, but most of this is just fun. It's like it reminds me of back when I was in the 90s, like just building a site because I could, and like get involved and like doing shitty anime shrines. Like, how many Team Rocket shrines do you need? I don't know, but I'm gonna make a Team Rocket Pokemon shrine. Oh, gotta make sure we got the Dragon Ball shrine too. I don't know why they're called shrines. I guess people pray to the websites, but I mean, you just make a GeoCities for whatever, and then try to learn how to do anything with HTML, which is clearly the most difficult language to develop in.
It's funny, I had a similar background. I learned HTML myself in 1995 and got on GeoCities and Angel Fire and Yahoo back in the day before Google existed, when Yahoo was a viable search engine. It was actually a directory. It wasn't really that viable. Lycos, Alta Vista was the place to go. That was the index. But yeah, back in the day. We've got some people in the chat. Looks like they're talking about Craig Wright. They do not like Craig Wright. What's your thoughts on Craig Wright, the Australian who claims he's Satoshi Nakamoto?
Yeah. What are my thoughts or the
Sure,
chat's?
man. Robek, we're looking for you're here on the show. The chat is interested in Craig Wright. So
I don't like the way he talks on Twitter.
I don't really like the way he talks in his presentations either. He's kind of a bombastic gentleman.
I haven't gone that deep. I think the saddest Wikipedia article is the Craig Wright Wikipedia article, because at the very end, it's got like this quote where he's like talking about just the world wasn't ready, and I don't think I can ever come out again because no one will ever believe me, and so I must sit on this curse that I've created. It's like it's
the curse that I've created Bitcoin, and I'll never be able to prove it. Oh, woe is me.
Yeah, it was pretty melodramatic, and it makes me laugh. But I mean, that's about my extent of knowledge of. There's another guy I actually think who it is, but I'm not as well informed as you guys. I just keep buying fucking bit beans and like hoping they sprout. So you know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean it's tough to argue against the venture capital investment strategy. You put your stuff into 10 different buckets and you hope that one of the buckets becomes Uber, right? Yeah. And the way it is now, certainly we didn't call any of this, but if you had bought Augur, Ethereum, Litecoin, any coin, basically a bunch of them, and just held them until it went crazy up and then tried to sell them. I don't know if the market was thick enough to get your funds out. Obviously with Ethereum, there's a ton of market there. So people, they got their millions of dollars out. A lot of these smaller pumps, you would try to sell and there wouldn't be anybody there to buy. But if you could do it, and if you've done it, if you're one of 10 hit, you killed it. Your investment set. So
yeah, it's been fun the past couple of months playing around. I did a lot of penny stocks back in the day, and it's like it's fun seeing like 15-20% gains in a day versus like 2% gains in like a year. So I mean that's fun stuff, but I mean it goes both ways. But basically I just don't sell anything that I hold, hoping for that. Pretty diversified. I don't hold any Bitcoin though, because that seems dumb. Why would you want to hold that?
Only old grandfathers hold Bitcoin, and
mostly I just don't. I don't hold it because one, I can't use it for anything. No projects, nothing like that. Not saying I can't go buy groceries or drugs, because sure, yeah, I could do that, but like I just can't use it to build on stuff right now. Secondly, is I didn't have the if you spend $500 as you're buying the crypto, right? Buying $500 of Bitcoin and just holding it. I mean, even from $2,000 to $3,000, that's not a massive return. You like in general. Whereas you could diversify and then hit that when something's pumping and moving, or you start to watch the graphs and the buy walls and the sell walls, and you know which bots are going to do on a daily basis, and just get in on that. And it just I don't trust myself enough to do that with Bitcoin.
Well, and it's interesting. I always said I didn't really know if people should buy Ethereum unless they were going to use it. And then people are making fun of me in the chat, and they're laughing now because yes, with my Curio cards, you actually use Ethereum. But we use this to do something that Bitcoin can't do at the moment with the smart contracts that do the vending machines. And we use this to provide people with, trading cards on the internet that they can use for fun and to promote artwork. So
yeah, I mean, this stuff is basically, I mean, Ethereum isn't, or Ether isn't a currency, right? It's a fuel. And so if the more expensive Ether is, the less likely fun stuff like this can happen, because the buy-in to just even get started for like people I'm like, hey grandma, you want to buy some of my Curio cards? She's like, yeah, sure, let me figure out how to get on Coinbase and then verify my account, and oh shit, it's $300 for one Ethereum. I can't spend that. Well, they don't cost that much. Well, the fee, it says it's going to be another 25% fee for buying this stuff here. Well, just go to GDAX, grandma. Just buy USD and transfer to GDAX. There's no fee if you do that. She doesn't know. She can't figure it out. So fuck it. I don't know.
This is complicated. We have questions if they'll switch to BTC. Well, it's not really the same thing. There's what we'd actually look at with Curio cards is, like Robek is saying, the Ethereum network is becoming too crowded. Ethereum has like the ICOs that come through and crash the whole market and make it so you can't even use Ethereum. You have to pay Ethereum a very small amount to move the cards around. So we would look into a similar network like Ethereum that has smart contracts. And then, of course, we would either move the old cards with us, or we would give a bunch of the new cards to anyone that holds the old cards. We're certainly not going to leave the people behind, but we are looking into this because we did have a week where we couldn't really sell any cards because the Ethereum network was just jammed and you couldn't process any withdrawals and no one could even buy any. But there are other ideas that we're looking into. So what's the gas limit for the cards? Oh, I don't know the technical things. The cards cost around 25 cents in American dollars, whatever that is.
Yeah, but the gas limit for the gas limit is like 57K for the vending machine for some reason, or 57K is Y, which is like half of the cost of, or like a fourth of the cost of the card.
So yeah, it's best to buy a bunch of cards. Yeah. It's like Bitcoin, where if you're going to send $1, it's not a great deal, but if you're going to send like $10 or $20, it's not that bad. So
yeah.
And we do have other cards that are available on the website, including MadBitcoins cards, which didn't sell out. Robec's World cards sell out. MadBitcoins cards, nothing. Just sitting there dying on the vine.
Yeah, you guys should go buy some of his cards, so that way I don't feel bad about cashing out.
Oh, isn't that the truth? Because I know we had Rhett send the Ethereum to Robec's account, and the artist has been paid. The money is gone.
I was ready to get on the stream tonight and just be like, bunch of crypto con artists over here.
It would have looked really bad if we didn't pay, and we tried to have you on the live stream anyway. But here it is. We're going to play the Robec's World announcement, the video that I think sold the cards here. So hold on just a sec. We'll get your reaction.
The evil Ico-goblins have stolen all the ether. Who will save Ethereum? Wizard! Bard! Barbarian! These three heroes must go on a dangerous adventure to free the ether and to stop the Dark Goblin King.
If you want the riches, you'll have to conquer my dungeon.
Wow. Awesome. See, I think the video really put it over the top. Like, you can watch the video at mycuriocards.com. So, Robek, what did you think of the video? Obviously, did it take you long to make? What do you think?
No. So, the video was made because I wanted to be on the launch, and turned out I had board review meetings at the real life that same day at the same time as the New Cards Tuesday, and so it's like shit. So I wanted to put something together that you guys could have. So I recorded the audio, and then I was like, okay, I've got time. I can hand animate this in 3 days, and then I just stole things from other people that from archive. So hopefully there's a nice gray area, especially with the effects and other stuff that I cut up and spliced together to try to match the audio I had recorded. So yeah, I made an homage.
I think it's more than enough fair use. It's definitely a collage of images. I know I had the same thing. I was recording a Patreon only video that you can get at my Patreon, and I talk to people how I do the thumbnail for the shows. And you know, I'm not like the greatest Photoshopper in the world, but I can move some layers around. And a lot of my layers end up to be other people's images. But I think if I use 2 or 3 of them together and make a collage, and that it's political, and that it's news, and it's satire, I think there's a line for protection there.
It's like glitch. This is glitch art. I mean, it's not really art, but it's more just a shitty marketing commercialization of something cool. But that was kind of the theme I had in my head when I was doing like the different things I send over your guys' way. And so I was like, I just want to relay like this is kind of what I'd like to do, and like have it kind of match that set we released. I mean, I didn't say, and these cards are based off of MadBitcoins and Travis. I didn't feel like that was appropriate. Like typically, I know Rhett would have bigger muscles, but I just, you know, I wanted to leave some things up to people's imagination.
Obviously downplaying Rhett's muscles for sure.
Yeah, most definitely.
And are these cards, do they tell a story? Are there more fantasy cards in this world that you're going to create? Maybe is the next card, is it Robek holding up a sign that says Robek's world cards sold out? Like, is that your next card? Like, what do you think if you could do another set in a few weeks?
Oh, man, I don't know. I kind of like, I went back and watched the stream, and Travis was like, oh, is there a Goblin King? And well, I mean, it could be fun if we make all these cards kind of line up in some way. So maybe I'm terrible at self-promotion, as in like I don't do it. Well, I do. I kind of do. I wouldn't do a card of myself, I think there.
I think it's pretty meta if it's the Robek's World card sells out, and maybe you're selling out in the card, and then
the sellout card won't sell out. I think
sellout card, like,
I just wanted to make something that was fun and that was unique and original for Curio cards. Not something that I already had in my back pocket, and not something that was just going to have no connection. So that's why I liked that I asked you guys what you wanted to be, you know. Not that they are exact replicas, but it's just then I could feel like I'm actually doing something to contribute to the project.
I thought it was fun. I actually thought that they wouldn't sell out because they had our faces on them. I thought that would be a detriment. So I thought you took a major risk there, focusing on the project.
I mean, you had Travis's hair. I still have to do that card.
Just the hair alone, alive.
Yeah, Travis's hair, maybe getting ready for work, you know, looking in the mirror, thinking about life, kissing his kids goodbye in the morning, his wife, you know, taking the hairmobile.
The wood paneled station wagon.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, most definitely.
I think it'd be good. So now, what was the chat saying about Craig Wright? Oh, they want to see him as the Goblin King. What do you think about that? That'd be Bitcoin, popular Bitcoin figures. What do you think a segregated witness would look like if you had to make a cartoon? You think like a shadow?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking something a little bit wispy like that. Something like I guess
it's kind of a librarian. He's storing the files separately, like because he's got a file cabinet maybe. Yeah. But
what would Charlie Lee be? That would be fun. Maybe a gnome.
Yeah, I was getting a lot of Yoda when I thought of it right away because he's kind of like Satoshi, but not really.
Yeah, or like reverse Yoda. What's that? Because he's kind of nothing like Satoshi, but he
tall and thin.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
We're getting a lot of requests for you to do the cartoon voice. Can you say something about SegWit in the cartoon voice? Maybe tell us about Bitcoin. Curio cards.
I don't know. I mean, I'm hard. It's hard for me to do things on demand. I know it's the worst.
Gotta practice your improv, man. It's yes and whenever the person says you agree
never.
With, you agree with and you add to. That's the magic of
I took
conversation.
3 weeks of improv in high school.
3 weeks.
I think I'm an expert.
So, did you get a degree? They probably
much of a degree as you can get in improv in a high school class. Yeah, hell yeah.
When people say that you're excited because it's on the spot.
I'm excited. It's better when I just blow one out, you know, like just release it like unexpectedly all over the place. The voiceover, I mean.
All right. Well, I think we're about to end the show, so you got to give us one more good voiceover. Or on our way out here, we've told the people that they can get their Curio cards at buycuriocards.com.
Someone feed him a goddamn line. Say that wasn't Skeletor. That was like a grandpa. What did I do for? What was the bad guy voice?
If you want to,
Hold on. What was it? What did I say? What did I write?
if you'd like to buy my Bitcoins, watch the Mad Bitcoin show.
And then I had effects. That's that one. I don't know, man. Fuck it. I don't know. But 1 block away, everybody. So that's exciting. And Mad Bitcoin should play us out.
We're 1 block away from segregated witness BIP91 being activated on the network. And you know how we end the
I'm
Mad
an evil Chinese miner blocking SegWit.
No! Never! And you know how we end the Mad Bitcoin show. Until next time, this has been Mad Bitcoins. Mad Bitcoins. Mad Bitcoins.